Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Victor of Cars Jubilee, and today we're talking about the EV6. In fact, Kia recently released pricing for the 2023 model year EV6, and buried in there is the fact that they released pricing for the GT trim. Now, the GT trim, if you're not aware, is a 577 horsepower monster. And, personally, I've been very curious how they were going to price it, and so I was kind of shocked when they just kind of released it along with all the other numbers for the 2023 model years. And here it is. It's $61,400 MSRP. And the destination charge is $1,295. And personally, I thought it was going to be more. I thought it was going to be in the mid 60s, like 65,000 MSRP. And I thought it was going to compete kind of in line with the EV6 Performance, which I'm in right now. Instead, they only raised the price for the GT model by about $4,000 over the GT line, and for that $4,000 bump, you get almost double the horsepower, which is crazy. So on top of all that crazy horsepower, you still get the standard excellent Kia safety features and interior tech features and all of that. So on paper, it seems like it's got a lot to offer. Now, I just mentioned that this EV6 GT doesn't really compete with my EV6 Performance because from a price standpoint, they're kind of tiered differently. And I think Hyundai and Kia did the right thing because personally, I would have made it compete with this thing. But they went a different direction. In fact, they clearly set their sights on one competitor. And can you guess what it is? This competitor has been known to be the performance model or the performance EV for the past, 3-4 years, ever since it came out. And not only that, but when you compare it to some of the other performance cars on the market, including gas-powered cars, it's basically the budget performance car, again, based on pricing. And that would be the Tesla Model 3 Performance. The Tesla Model 3 Performance clocks in at just around $63,000 MSRP. So clearly the EV6 GT is actually undercutting the price by a little bit. But let's go back to what I said about the Model 3 Performance being kind of the budget performance car. Now, currently there are new EVs hitting the market that kind of compete with it, including this Genesis EV6 Performance. However, this one is around $70,000 MSRP. Another competitor is the BMW i4 M50. And that one, with options, you can go all the way up to about $85,000. So clearly the Genesis and the BMW are not trying to undercut the Model 3's pricing, but clearly they are trying to outclass it from a luxury standpoint, and the price reflects that. So to me, the i4 and this EV6 Performance don't really compete head-to-head with the Model 3 Performance. Now, as I mentioned, I feel like the Tesla Model 3 Performance has been kind of that benchmark performance vehicle, because when you look at it compared to gas-powered cars, even then it's still a budget buy. You look at BMW's M3 Competition, which clocks in at around $75,000. Well, the Model 3 Performance still beats it 0 to 60. You look at the Dodge Charger Hellcat, that's about $80,000. But the Model 3 Performance still beats it 0 to 60. So from a 0 to 60 standpoint, the Tesla Model 3 Performance has been the benchmark, and now we're finally seeing someone come in, not only outperforming them, but also undercutting them on price. Right. The EV6 GT has 577 horsepower, and it's coming in at about $1,000 less. That's pretty crazy. Now, personally, I can't wait to see that EV6 GT do a drag race with a Tesla Model 3 Performance. We've already seen this EV6 Performance can definitely keep up and can actually beat a Model Y Performance in a drag race. So I think the EV6 GT would probably beat the Tesla Model 3 Performance also in a drag race, but we'll have to wait and see. So again, I think that was a really, really smart decision by Kia Hyundai to price the EV6 GT against the Model 3 and not against one of its own, like the EV6 Performance. And before I wrap it up, I want to go through the remaining lineup for the 2023 EV6. Now, you'll see that they actually removed the light trim that used to be the cheapest model available. That's no longer an option. And then across the board, they raised everything by $1,000, which at the end of the day, all things considered, isn't that bad either. Now, I'm going to leave you with this, and that's the fact that I think we've just seen the rough pricing of the Ioniq 5N. Now, if you look at the pricing for the Ioniq 5s and the EV6s, you'll see they stack up pretty comparably. In fact, the limited trim Ioniq 5 and the GT line EV6 have been the top spec models, and they've been about the same in terms of equipment in the cars and also the price. So my belief is that the Ioniq 5N will follow that same trend, or it's going to match the EV6 trim's pricing. So I think the Ioniq 5N is probably going to be about the same price as the EV6 GT. And it's cool that now we know what it's going to cost. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below. Based on this pricing, are you guys interested still in the EV6 GT or the Ioniq 5N? Because to me, at this price, I think these are going to be pretty good deals. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.